Jelly Roll has filed for divorce from his wife, Bunnie XO, after nearly 10 years of marriage. Reports are that the decision was mutual. It's a private family matter.
Jelly Roll's story doesn't begin with sold-out arenas, award shows, or chart-topping songs. It begins in a place where most dreams never seem to survive. Long before millions of people knew his name, he was simply Jason Bradley DeFord, a young man growing up in Nashville, Tennessee, surrounded by hardship, poor decisions, and an uncertain future. Looking at his life today, it is easy to assume success was inevitable. But the truth is that very few people would have predicted he would become one of the biggest names in modern country music. His journey is not just about becoming famous. It is about surviving the kind of life that could have ended long before his career ever began. As Jelly Roll has shared in numerous interviews, his teenage years were marked by trouble with the law. He spent time in juvenile detention and later served time in jail after becoming involved in criminal activities. Those experiences left lasting scars, but they also forced him to confront difficult questions about the direction of his life. Rather than hiding his past, he has chosen to speak openly about it, hoping that someone facing similar circumstances might realize that their future does not have to be defined by their worst mistakes. That honesty would eventually become one of the defining qualities that set him apart from many other artists. Music became more than a hobby. It became an escape. While others saw only a troubled young man with little chance of success, Jelly Roll discovered that writing songs gave him a voice. Through rap and later country music, he transformed painful memories into lyrics that felt deeply personal. Instead of pretending he had lived a perfect life, he invited listeners into his world, sharing stories about addiction, regret, redemption, family, and hope. Fans connected with that authenticity because they recognized pieces of their own struggles in his music. Long before national recognition arrived, Jelly Roll spent years performing in small clubs and local venues. The crowds were often small, and financial success seemed far away. There were times when making enough money simply to continue chasing his dream felt like an accomplishment. Yet he continued writing, recording, and performing because he believed that if he remained true to himself, someone would eventually listen. Those years of persistence built the foundation for everything that came later. During that chapter of his life, another important person entered the story. Bunnie XO would eventually become not only his wife, but also one of his strongest supporters. Their relationship began in an unexpected way, and both have publicly shared that neither of them imagined where that first meeting would eventually lead. They came from different backgrounds, carried different experiences, and had both faced personal challenges of their own. Yet over time, they formed a connection built on honesty, resilience, and a willingness to accept each other without pretending to be perfect. Their relationship developed while Jelly Roll was still working to establish himself as an artist. Fame had not yet arrived, and there were no guarantees that it ever would. Building a life together during uncertain times required sacrifice from both of them. Instead of chasing an image of perfection, they often described their relationship as one built on transparency, forgiveness, and continuous growth. Those values would later become central themes in many of Jelly Roll's interviews and public appearances. As his audience slowly grew, so did his confidence as a songwriter. Rather than following industry trends, he continued writing songs rooted in real experiences. Listeners appreciated that his music acknowledged pain without losing sight of hope. Whether discussing addiction, mental health, family struggles, or redemption, Jelly Roll consistently reminded people that healing is possible even after years of making mistakes. That message resonated with audiences across different genres and backgrounds, helping him build an unusually loyal fan base. By the time mainstream success finally arrived, it felt less like an overnight breakthrough and more like the reward for years of persistence. His songs began reaching larger audiences. Collaborations introduced him to new listeners, and country music fans embraced his unique blend of honesty and emotional storytelling. Yet even as his career reached new heights, Jelly Roll continued speaking about the importance of gratitude. He frequently reminded fans that every opportunity represented something he once believed he might never experience. success also brought new responsibilities. With larger audiences came greater public attention, and every interview, performance, and social media post attracted increasing scrutiny. Jelly Roll has acknowledged that fame can be rewarding, but it also creates pressures that most people never see. Remaining grounded while balancing family life, touring schedules, and personal well-being became an ongoing challenge. Through it all, he repeatedly emphasized that his greatest victories were not measured by awards or record sales, but by becoming a better father, husband, and person than he had once believed possible. For many fans, that may be the most inspiring part of Jelly Roll's story. His journey is not simply about escaping a difficult past. It is about proving that redemption is possible. The road was never easy, and it certainly was not perfect. But every setback, every difficult lesson, and every moment of self-reflection helped shape the artist and individual millions of people admire today. And as his career continued to soar, the next chapter of his life would test him in entirely new ways, revealing that even after achieving extraordinary success, the hardest battles often take place far from the spotlight. Jelly Roll's rise to national recognition did not happen because he suddenly changed who he was. Instead, the world gradually caught up to the authenticity he had been offering for years. His music stood apart because it refused to hide life's imperfections. Rather than presenting himself as someone who had all the answers, he spoke openly about failure, addiction, heartbreak, anxiety, and the long road towards self-improvement. That honesty created a powerful bond with listeners who often felt overlooked by mainstream entertainment. They saw someone who understood their struggles because he had lived through many of them himself. As his popularity continued to grow, Jelly Roll found himself performing before larger crowds than he had ever imagined. Small clubs were replaced by sold-out theaters, and eventually massive arenas filled with fans singing every word of his songs. Each performance became more than a concert. It became a shared experience where people celebrated resilience and hope. Many audience members later described his shows as emotional rather than simply entertaining, because the stories behind his music reflected challenges that countless families face every day. One of the defining moments in his career came when he successfully crossed between hip-hop, rock, and country music. While many artists spend years trying to fit neatly into one category, Jelly Roll embraced every influence that had shaped his life. His willingness to blend genres gave his music a unique identity and attracted listeners from different backgrounds. Instead of limiting himself to a single audience, he created songs that connected with people regardless of the style of music they usually preferred. Songs such as Son of a Sinner, Need a Favor, and Save Me introduced millions of new listeners to his deeply personal style of songwriting. Rather than relying on fictional stories or carefully crafted images, he drew inspiration from real experiences. Themes of redemption, second chances, forgiveness, and perseverance appeared repeatedly throughout his work. Those messages resonated because they reflected struggles that many people rarely hear discussed so openly in popular music. Throughout this period, Bunnie XO remained an important part of his journey. While Jelly Roll's career reached new heights, she continued building her own successful platform through podcasting and digital media. Instead of remaining in the background, she developed a career that reflected her own personality and ambitions. Together, they often demonstrated that a healthy partnership allows both people to pursue individual goals while continuing to support one another. The couple also became known for their openness during interviews. Rather than pretending their relationship had always been easy, they acknowledged that every long-term partnership requires communication, patience, and accountability. Jelly Roll has publicly accepted responsibility for mistakes he made earlier in life, explaining that personal growth begins with honesty. Boo! XO has likewise discussed the importance of healing and choosing to move forward instead of allowing painful experiences to define the future. Their willingness to have difficult conversations earned them respect from many fans who appreciated their transparency. Another reason Jelly Roll's story resonated with audiences was his commitment to giving back. As his platform expanded, he increasingly used it to encourage prison reform, addiction recovery, and second chances for people trying to rebuild their lives. Having experienced incarceration himself, he understood how difficult it can be for individuals with criminal records to find employment, housing, and opportunities after serving their sentences. Rather than distancing himself from that chapter of his life, he continued speaking about it, hoping his success might inspire meaningful conversations about rehabilitation and redemption. His visits to rehabilitation centers, juvenile detention facilities, and correctional institutions reflected that commitment. During these appearances, he often reminded people that one mistake, or even many mistakes, does not have to determine someone's entire future. Those messages carried unusual credibility because they came from someone who had personally experienced many of the hardships he described. Instead of presenting himself as perfect, he simply offered proof that lasting change is possible. Despite his growing fame, Jelly Roll has repeatedly emphasized the importance of family. He has often spoken with pride about being a father and about the responsibility that comes with setting a positive example for his children. He has explained that becoming a parent changed his perspective on life, motivating him to make decisions that reflected the future he wanted to build rather than the past he was trying to escape. His family became one of the strongest motivations behind his continued commitment to personal growth. At the same time, increasing success inevitably brought greater public attention. Every interview, photograph, or social media post became subject to intense online discussion. Fans often analyzed ordinary moments, searching for hidden meanings that might not exist. Like many public figures, Jelly Roll and Bunnie XO occasionally found themselves at the center of internet speculation. However, both have consistently encouraged people to avoid believing every rumor circulating online, reminding audiences that social media rarely tells the complete story of anyone's life. Through every stage of his remarkable journey, one lesson has remained constant. Jelly Roll has never claimed that success erased his struggles. Instead, he has explained that growth is an ongoing process requiring humility, accountability, and daily effort. His life demonstrates that redemption is not a single moment, but a continuous decision to become a better person than the one you were yesterday. As his career reached heights he once thought impossible, he discovered that the greatest challenge was no longer achieving success. It was remaining true to the values that helped him reach it in the first place. Jelly Roll has often said that success means very little if it comes at the cost of losing yourself. As his concerts grew larger and his schedule became busier, he made a conscious effort to stay connected to the people and experiences that shaped him. In interviews, he frequently expressed gratitude to the fans who supported him long before he was performing on national television or accepting major music awards. He never forgot the years when he was traveling from venue to venue, hoping enough people would show up to keep his dream alive. Those memories continued to influence the way he approached both his career and his personal life. One of the qualities that has earned Jelly Roll widespread respect is his willingness to speak openly about mental health. He has acknowledged that fame does not erase anxiety, self-doubt, or emotional struggles. In fact, increased public attention can sometimes make those challenges even more difficult. By discussing these issues honestly, he has encouraged fans to seek help when they need it and to understand that asking for support is a sign of strength rather than weakness. His message has resonated with countless people who have faced similar battles in silence. Another important part of his journey has been his commitment to sobriety and personal growth. Jelly Roll has never suggested that change happens overnight. Instead, he describes it as a series of daily choices, each one moving a person either closer to or farther from the life they hope to build. He has spoken about the importance of surrounding himself with people who encourage positive decisions and distancing himself from influences that once pulled him in the wrong direction. That lesson, learned through years of experience, became one of the foundations of his transformation. Bunnie XO has also built a reputation for being open and honest with her audience. Through her podcast and social media platforms, she has shared stories about her own life, career, and personal growth. Her interviews often feature candid conversations that explore difficult topics with empathy and humor. Rather than presenting a carefully polished image, she has encouraged authenticity, something that has helped her connect with millions of listeners. Her independent success demonstrates that she has built a career based on her own talents while continuing to support those closest to her. Together, Jelly Roll and Bunnie XO have often spoken about the importance of communication in any relationship. They have acknowledged that no marriage is free from disagreements or difficult moments, but they believe that honesty and mutual respect are essential for overcoming challenges. Their interviews have consistently emphasized that healthy relationships require continuous effort from both people. They have never claimed to have a perfect marriage. Instead, they have encouraged others to recognize that every partnership experiences ups and downs. As Jelly Roll's career reached new milestones, his influence extended beyond the music industry. He was invited to appear on major television programs, collaborate with well-known artists, and perform at prestigious events. Each achievement represented another step in a journey that once seemed almost impossible. Yet despite these accomplishments, he often redirected attention away from awards and toward the message behind his music. For him, the greatest reward was hearing from fans who said his songs helped them through addiction, grief, depression, or other personal struggles. His songwriting continued to reflect real life rather than fantasy. Instead of portraying himself as a hero, he wrote about imperfection, accountability, forgiveness, and hope. Those themes gave his music a timeless quality because they addressed emotions that people from all backgrounds understand. Whether someone had experienced financial hardship, family difficulties, addiction, or simply the feeling of starting over, they could often find a piece of their own story within his lyrics. Another reason audiences admire Jelly Roll is his appreciation for second chances. He frequently reminds listeners that people should not be judged solely by their worst decisions. Having rebuilt his own life after years of mistakes, he understands how difficult it can be to earn trust and create a new future. That perspective has inspired him to advocate for compassion, rehabilitation, and opportunities for individuals seeking to change their lives. His personal experiences have given his message authenticity that cannot be manufactured. As public interest in his life continued to grow, so did online speculation about his family and relationships. Like many celebrities, Jelly Roll has experienced rumors that spread rapidly across social media, often without reliable evidence. Both he and Bunnie XO have encouraged fans to rely on verified information rather than assumptions or sensational headlines. They have repeatedly demonstrated that the most important conversations about their lives are the ones they choose to share themselves, rather than stories created by internet speculation. Looking back, it becomes clear that Jelly Roll's greatest achievement is not simply becoming a successful musician. It is proving that a person's past does not have to determine their future. From a troubled teenager with limited opportunities to an award-winning artist admired around the world, his journey reflects the power of perseverance, accountability, and hope. Every chapter of his life has contributed to the person he is today, reminding audiences that redemption is possible for anyone willing to keep moving forward, one day at a time.